Okay, so we're having our final guest come on now, and his name is James Metz, and he has a book called Planet Storyland, and he's going to tell us what it's all about. And there was some interesting information that he sent, and a phrase that stood out to me was, "Without writing, reading does not exist." So,
It's true.
um, with that thought, you're right. So, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV. And you unmute so we can hear you.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Okay.
Um, my book is titled Planet Storyland because people tell stories every day, and there's roughly over 7 billion people in the world. So I guess there's probably billions of stories told every day. So that
Hmm.
was the purpose of the title Planet Storyland. But the way this story started is that I had a question, and the question was, what would a kid from another planet think about how we live here? And so um, it turns out that I really just started with not really trying to write a story. I was just trying to answer the question, but it went on for 7 years. So it took me 7 years to answer that question. But nevertheless, the point of the story is that the boy, his name is Quentin, wants to come to Earth because he wants to see with his own eyes how we live. And he has a discussion with his father, and his father wanted to make sure that he understood what he was getting into if he came here, because, as his mother stated, they're conducting business down here. And, life is a little bit different there. So Quentin decides that he's going to come here anyway, and he wants to help us out because he realizes that on Earth, people live in suspense. And he wanted to help us level the playing field. So basically, this book is about leveling the playing field, and it's about writing. And writing is the most important, most powerful communication tool that exists on Earth. And there's 7 building blocks to writing. It's not just the alphabet. It's not just the numbers 0 through 9. It's not just punctuation marks. It's not just the periodic table. It's not just musical symbols. It's not just mathematical symbols, but it's also drafting lines. And those particular writing blocks make up everything that we see and are able to create. And so a person literally can teach themselves just by working on whatever it is over and over again until it turns out to be exactly the way they want to. Just like when I wrote my book, it took me 7 years because it just seemed like there was a lot of holes and it needed to be filled. But the main thrust of the story is about writing, even though it's a fictional story.
Now, do you have a scientific background?
None.
Because I see the solar system with planets behind you, and I'm
Oh,
wondering what's the significance of that.
I'm about to say, I
well,
just think you have a scientific interest.
Yeah, that's what.
well, actually, I have an interest in everybody enjoying themselves while they're alive. And so far as I know, the best way to do that is to get people to understand that writing is something that they can teach themselves. Um, and being able to teach yourself that, you're able to also not only become like a student, you become the teacher as you progress through your learning of whatever craft you're trying to perfect, whether it be creating music, which requires musical symbols. I mean, if you're really going to learn the craft, if you're going to build a home, which is learning drafting, um, along with learning math as well. Um, it's just it's just like our own history. One of the things that when slaves were brought here to America, they weren't allowed to learn the language. They weren't allowed to learn how to read or write. And the reason why is because by learning that, that levels the playing field. you're able to understand what it is that is going on around you and having some say in it and being able to figure out how to work with it. But if you don't know the language, what do you have?
Yeah. Spoken word is a powerful tool too, but it doesn't have the permanence of writing.
Yes, with writing makes what we imagine that is invisible visible. That's the power of writing. And all of us have an imagination. Most of us are capable of writing, whether it be drawing or whatever. But that's the one thing that we can all work on. It didn't even, school started with someone who hadn't been to school. You get what I'm saying? The books were written by people who hadn't had books before. They just started writing stuff down, and later on they become books. So these are things that we can actually teach ourselves. There are amazing people all over the globe creating stuff out of just scrap materials. There's some cousins that live in Africa that were able to build a prosthetic arm. There was a member of their, a relative of theirs that had part of their arm decapitated. And they sat up there and figured out how to make this machine that went over their body and connected to the arm so that this person could actually use their limb. And they just made these things out of scrap materials that they found scattered along the highway. So excuse me for being a little bit nervous about this, but there's just so much to this, but it's really kind of simple. People just need to learn how to write, because if they learn how to write, it's the most powerful communicative tool that they could have. It also helps them understand whatever it is that they're thinking. They can see it clear. It's kind of like what people say, write down your goals.
Right, you get the visual of it, and that reinforces it.
Well, writing is a gateway to so many things. If you have, I don't even want to call it a talent, but if you have the gift of writing, then you have the gift of reading. If you have the gift of reading, you have the gift of communication. And it gets you so much further in life. So I'm totally with everything that you're saying right now.
I just really do believe that kids don't really have to look forward to trying to follow some sort of educational pathway. They can pretty much teach themselves just about anything they want to know. It's really based upon their desire to learn, because it's like having a teacher that is really enthusiastic and having a boring teacher. You just got to hope that you're going to find that you're going to have that good teacher in front of you when you're trying to learn something. But if you just have the passion, the drive to do it, you teach yourself, like many musicians have, or athletes have. They just keep at it and keep at it and keep at it. And I think that's just something that needs to be emphasized, is that you do have the power within you to not only teach yourself, but to feel like, there's nothing better than being alive, no matter what's going on, because we're in like testy times here these days. And there's a lot of protesting and a lot of people that are upset. And I think the best hope to give people is just to let them know that, the power is within your hands.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really have to hope that the institutions that are available to us are necessarily our only choice. Our main choice is having faith and confidence in our own abilities.
Well, what we say often on this show is that the thing about, and we're both authors, Rhonda and I are both authors, multi-published, but for a number of years. But what we say on this show is that the thing about writing books is that your work outlives you. that your books are still here when you're gone, that people can gain information from and learn from. So every generation is not reinventing the wheel. you know, they're not learning something that's already been resolved. That someone else has already experienced and given you the steps and the beginning, the middle, and the end. So that's the charge that we have as authors, and even the ones that write fiction that's not historically based, but more just even relationship based, just fiction in general. It gives you a picture of what's called the zeitgeist, the prevailing attitudes of the time.
Oh yeah, yeah, yes. So um,
So
I usually I'm quite active. I'm in pickleball, golf. I do try and go on rather adventurous trips to different places, such as like Tahiti when I went swimming with the whales, and sometimes I go river rafting. Um,
That. So you
well,
did say you like
it's
to
just
enjoy
see
life.
we, huh?
So you did say you like to enjoy life.
mhm.
Yeah, see, we've gotten to a point where we're no longer trying to figure out where we're going to find food. We're not hunting. We're not, farming. I mean, I'm not saying that people don't do that, but we're at a point now that our confidence level is just high. People are performing all kinds of amazing things these days. It's just like there's a black astronaut that will be going up in the Artemis 2. I believe it's next month, which is, I'm not sure if you've ever seen one of those rockets, but I just recently went to Huntsville, Alabama to take a look at the one of the rockets that had never been sent up. And when you see what it looks like, you can really get a good sense of the amount of genius that goes into something like that and how scary that must be, because this rocket is like 33 stories high. I'm not sure if you've ever been in a building like that before, but if you step
Sure,
out onto the
more
balcony and
higher.
look down, you'll see how high up you are. And these
Mhm.
people are sitting there on gasoline. There's like over 1 million gallons of gasoline that is burning to shoot them into space. And there's a guy, I believe his last name is Glover, that is he's one of the 4 astronauts that will be going there. And when you see the capsule that they're sitting in, you realize that they are living on a prayer, because that is no joke. That is, but
Yeah, if anything can go wrong, if something goes wrong, then you're cooked, and that's not in a good way.
yeah.
You're
Um,
such a ball of sunshine.
I'm
Oh
just
wow.
saying.
Oh
Um,
wow.
but what you were describing is what they taught us in, I think it was psychology, about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where the first levels are for survival. We're no longer in that. You were talking about how all of our basic needs are met. And the highest level on Maslow's hierarchy is self-actualization.
Right.
Hmm.
But I believe that, just from me doing some meditation and thinking, and sometimes I research and just have deep thoughts. I have my times where I have deep thoughts. I believe the next level after self actualization is narcissism. And I think that's what can bring a society down. Everybody starts only thinking about themselves instead of the greater good. And that can bring a society down. All great societies fail at some point.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about um the greater good. I just know that um when I'm around younger people that are uh, in school, students, let's say.
Hmm.
I'm really interested in what they're doing. And I'm also interested in how they talk about it. And it's actually addicting to me because I really want to talk with them longer and longer and longer. But there's only so much time that you can spend with a young kid when you're an adult. But um,
Now, are you a professor?
no, no,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just
Well, I didn't know if you were spending time with students, like as a
no, I just
professor.
mean the fact that a lot of times when I'm talking with younger kids, they're usually in school.
Okay.
Yeah, many times the Office Depot that I go to, usually those are students that are just, working there part time, going to school, many times at some of the restaurants. Uh,
You seem like
but
the person that likes to go up to people and talk to them. You want to see what they're thinking.
yeah, I can get,
You
but
open
it's just
conversations with strangers.
right. But see, there's just so much more to live for. That's the thing, and so I will kind of get inspired by what they're talking about just because they seem rather excited. Just recently, there was a guy that said that he was into quantum physics. And, that seems to be the word quantum seems to be, quantum computing seems to be a big word these days, a common word. And I don't know that much about it. But to hear him talk about it, um, it seemed like something I should know. And so my whole deal is like, okay, I guess we'll talk about it the next time that I come here because I come to Office Depot quite often. But it's just inspiring them to know that they can figure out how to have a life that they can be proud of, and that they don't have to feel like the world is so strange to them, or that they're not as comfortable as they should be in it, because they should be comfortable. They're not here by accident, and they have we have the top of the line body structure, and we have imagination, which no other living being has. And all they have to do is just utilize it. And writing is the perfect um, medium for them to expose what it is that they're thinking about. And they can get a chance to look at it and see if that's the direction that they want to go, or maybe they just need to work on it a little bit more, and so that it turns out to be right and workable.
Okay. So is Planet Storyland your first book?
Yes, it'll probably be my only book. I just wanted to write that one. It was something that I had to.
Get off your chest.
Well, you can say that it was an extreme challenge because I didn't know it was going to go that route. I really thought in 30 days it was going to be done. It's just a question that I was answering. And the next thing I know, it just kept going on and on and on and on and on. I just couldn't quit until I was sure that I'd answered the question. So
Mm.
Well,
that's
you never
That's
know
how you do it.
because
You have
my
all these
first
thoughts
book,
going on,
yeah,
and you go
yeah.
ahead and you put them on paper. You may wind up inspiring someone else. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to be an author forever, but you may have written something that's going to inspire thought in somebody else.
and that's a good thing because I can tell you, inspiration feels great. Sometimes it
Yes,
won't even let you go to sleep because
that's true.
That's true. That is true. Um, and a lot of authors or multi-published authors thought they were one and done when they did their first book, me included. When I did my first book, it was even though I had been writing really all my life, but I had written short pieces, commentaries, news articles, things like that. I hadn't, written a book. So it was based on being inspired by a situation and then looking at the big picture. And I thought once I did it, this is my book, my one book. And then another idea came to me. And so I've been having ideas ever since, and I'm 15 books down, working on
wow.
16. So
Wow.
don't, you never know. You said you answered that question. Okay, you might have some other questions you want to answer, and that will be your inspiration for the next book.
That's possible. It's possible. I just really want to get around to talking to students about writing. That's
Now,
what
have you ever thought about teaching? You seem like you really have a heart for that, working with young people.
no, I thought
No.
of just being a guest in a classroom or an auditorium and talking to the students and showing them some of the amazing things that the human mind creates, such as, you know, jumping out of airplane, parachuting. I've done that a couple
God bless you.
times.
God bless you. I was in the Army 23 years and I'm still not jumping on anybody's airplane.
Well, I can just tell you this much. We've gotten to a place now where we're actually at a very, very high confidence level. And we're also at this point where once artificial intelligence came out, it was like the writing on the wall for me. We can no longer allow ourselves to sit back and let somebody else lead us. We have to lead ourselves, and that means educating ourselves. And so my whole deal is like uh, I've got to get people to understand how important learning to use writing will help them more than they can imagine. It's revelatory sometimes. You're just sitting there, you're working on something, and then all of a sudden, bang, wow, can't believe this. And it's not necessarily just writing. It's if they were just playing an instrument and they're writing down the notes and then they're, hold on. And they kind of scratch it out and said, let me do it like this. And the next thing you know, it's like, oh, that's it. That's it. That's the rhythm. That's the way it's. I'm just, making this up off the top of my head, but I just know that the people really need to focus on educating themselves, and they can, because education started with a person thinking about something and deciding to write it down. And after a while, enough books got together, and the very rich says, hey, will you teach my son? And so the very rich got educated while the rest of the people that were trying to, get their lives together, they didn't get an education. And today it's kind of like mandatory, but I'm not sure if people are that inspired by education. So I want them to see that, actually what you got going on in your head, you just need to try and work it out. Work it out with writing. And writing will help you see what it is that you're thinking, because it is what makes what is invisible visible. Because none of this stuff would exist without writing. If you take away writing and all its benefits, you know what would happen? We're all sitting down, we would fall to the ground. We wouldn't have the clothes that we have on, and it would be dark, and the only light that we would see is that moonlight. And there would just be woods, and we'd be starting all over again. But we're not there. We have everything right here in front of us. And all we have to do is just use it. And it's writing is that tool that changed the whole landscape of the earth. And now
Okay,
they
well,
have a space station.
we're close to the end of our time, and we haven't seen your book cover yet. So do you have a
Oh,
copy of your book so you can show it to us?
yes, I do.
Okay. Planet Storyland. That looks like is that a spaceship or is it like a big computer like room?
No, that's a kid.
No, I mean on the sides. I know it's a kid in the middle. I meant the
Talking
part
about,
on the
oh
side.
no, on the sides is bookshelves with
Okay,
books.
so they are books. They are books. It is what it looks like. It looks
Mm.
in a way it looked kind of like a spaceship size of was some kind of space thing. Could be, you create things in your mind. So, well, congratulations on the book. When did the book come out?
No, it's been out.
Oh, okay. It's been out for a
Yes,
while.
it's on any online platform that you could sign on to.
Okay. All right.
And
So,
then
We did
there's my
also put
personal
your
website.
link.
I'm
We
sorry?
did put your link in the chat. So our viewers can click the link to get more information on your
Oh,
book.
that's right. Yes.
yeah.
I do want to point out one thing. I noticed that you all are wearing Seahawks.
Yes. Go Hawks.
I
I'm
love that.
sorry, were you a Patriots fan? Did we insult you?
No.
Oh,
No, I grew up
okay.
in Los Angeles. So, it's either Rams or the Seahawks. Either one of them
Oh, okay.
would have worked for
Okay.
me.
And since the Rams lost to the Seahawks,
Yeah,
then so
yeah,
you have to go with the West Coast team. But
that
that's
is
great.
right.
Okay. Well, I picked the Seahawks after being a lifelong Dallas Cowboy fan
Oh, wow.
who got tired of losing, and the moves they were making let me know they weren't going to win anytime soon. And they haven't. So I became a Seahawks fan when Russell Wilson his first year playing.
Oh, is
And
that right?
yeah, I've been a fan since then. So
Yeah. He's
anyway,
not there anymore, though, but yeah.
no, but it's a whole new team. But it's the same. The attitude's back. The mystique is back. So
Oh,
that's
yeah, they're a very, very strong team. I expect them to win the Super Bowl. That's who I'm rooting for anyway.
okay.
Oh,
Well,
good. We
great.
together.
Yeah, go Hawks, like I said. So anyway, we're at the end of our time. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show
Thank
and giving
you.
us some things to think about.
Hopefully.
Oh,
Good night.
okay. Have a great night.
All right, you too. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.